I want to start today with a bit of a reality check. And honestly, it's a little unsettling.
Oh,
We're looking at a clip from Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, and he said something recently that really just sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about.
okay.
He basically said that companies that fail to adopt AI aggressively aren't just going to fall a little bit behind, they're going to be completely outcompeted.
It's a pretty stark warning. He's essentially describing a fork in the road for the entire business world.
A fork in the road is a good way to put it.
On one side, you have these, I guess, lean, AI-heavy organizations that move faster, they hire fewer people, and they just ship way more product.
Yeah.
And on the other side,
Everyone else.
everyone else.
Exactly. It's like the difference between using a typewriter and a word processor, but, multiplied by 1,000.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the mission of this deep dive. We are moving past the, wow, look at this cool demo phase. We're done with just watching flashy clips on social media. Today, we're looking at a deep dive from Dave at Own the Conversation that breaks down what it actually means to integrate AI into a business.
And this is so crucial because most people are still stuck on the tools. They're looking for that one magic app. But Dave's analysis pushes us towards something much more substantial, this concept of bot intelligence.
Right.
We're going to look at the viral frenzy around a tool called ClawdBot, which is a perfect example of the hype cycle. And then we'll compare it to a real-world case study called Guest Chat, which shows what an actual implementation looks like.
So settle in. We're going to cover everything from autonomous agents living on your desktop to a lead gen machine that literally fixes its own hallucinations. But let's start with that shiny object that broke the internet, ClawdBot.
Right, ClawdBot, or specifically ClawdBot with a W.
The search trends on this thing went vertical. It was just everywhere. And on the surface, I get it. It sounds like science fiction is finally here.
It does.
It's described as a semi-autonomous personal agent that runs locally on your own machine. So not just in the cloud, it lives on your computer.
That's the pitch. And the feature set is, I'll admit, very compelling. It has persistent memory, which is huge. It remembers who you are and what you're working on
Across sessions. It's not a goldfish.
Exactly. And it has full system access, meaning it can open your files, it can run code, use your terminal, and it hooks into your communication tools, Telegram, WhatsApp.
Okay, that was the part that blew my mind. It can message you first. It's not just sitting there waiting for a prompt. It uses something called cron to schedule tasks. Now hang on, for people who don't live in a command line, what exactly is cron?
Think of cron as a time-based alarm clock for your computer's operating system. You just tell it every morning at 8 a.m., run this specific script.
Ah, okay.
So with ClawdBot, you could technically wake up to a message from your AI saying, hey, I finished that research you asked for last night.
So it creates this illusion of a proactive coworker. And for a lot of tech enthusiasts, I mean, that is the holy grail. You see commentators like Matt Wolf or Wes Roth getting really excited because it feels like a glimpse of the future.
It does feel like that. But, and there's always a but in these deep dives, our source material brings in a heavy dose of skepticism. Specifically, it references a commentator named Nick, who decided to look under the hood.
Yeah.
And, well, what he found wasn't quite as magical as the viral thumbnails suggested.
Okay, lay it on me. What's the catch? Because usually when things go viral this fast, there's something hiding in the details.
The catch is that when you strip away the branding, ClawdBot is essentially just a wrapper.
A wrapper, like just a pretty face on something else.
Exactly. Imagine a really slick car body placed on top of an engine. The engine does the actual work. In this case, the engine is an existing large language model, specifically Claude Opus. ClawdBot is just the interface, the wrapper that lets you talk to it.
And Claude Opus is powerful, but you're saying ClawdBot itself introduces some new problems.
It does. The source mentioned security risks, for one.
Massive ones.
Yeah, massive. You are giving an autonomous script full access to your local file system and your terminal. That requires an immense amount of trust. And then there's the cost, because it's constantly running and thinking. The token costs, that's the price you pay for the AI's processing, can rack up incredibly fast.
Can we just pause on token costs for a second? I think people assume if they pay $20 a month for ChatGPT, that's the end of it. How is this different?
That's a great question. When you use an API, which is how ClawdBot connects to the AI's brain, you aren't paying a flat subscription. You're paying per word or token. That connects to the model.
Got it.
So if you have an autonomous agent looping in the background, reading thousands of lines of code, trying to solve a problem, getting stuck and trying again,
Yeah.
You are running the meter that whole time. You could wake up to a very, very unpleasant bill.
So it's like leaving the water running all night. And there was a weird detail about its origins, too. Something about a crypto company.
Yes. There's speculation that it was created by a crypto entity with potential ulterior motives, mostly to drive hype or maybe token usage. It just adds this layer of murkiness to the whole project.
So is the takeaway here, stay away? Should we just ignore ClawdBot?
Not exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where the expert nuance comes in. Dave, in our source material, argues that while ClawdBot the product might be risky or overhyped, ClawdBot the signal is incredibly important.
A useful signal, not a destination.
Precisely. It proves that agents with memory and autonomy are technically possible right now. It shows us what the interface of the future looks like, where you text your computer and it does work for you. But installing some random unverified tool just because it's trending,
That is not a business strategy.
that's just chasing shiny objects.
Okay, so if we aren't installing ClawdBot, what should we be building? And this, I think, leads us to the core concept of this deep dive, agentic workflows.
This is the shift. We need to stop thinking about AI tools like, oh, I use ChatGPT to write emails, and start thinking about workflows. An agentic workflow is when you wire a reasoning-capable model like GPT-4 or Claude into a system that can remember context, act on your behalf, and talk to other tools.
The source used a phrase I really liked, bot intelligence.
It's a powerful reframing. Think about it this way. In the past, if you wanted to scale a business, you had to hire people. You were buying their intelligence and their time. Now you can literally buy intelligence via API credits. You can point that intelligence at a specific problem, like researching a market or answering customer support, and it just works tirelessly.
But here is the catch, and Dave points this out really clearly. Product creation is getting easier. Anyone can use AI to write code or spin up a game or design a website.
Which means the market is about to be floated.
Yeah.
If anyone can build a product in a weekend, then the product itself becomes less of a differentiator. The bottleneck shifts.
It shifts to distribution and marketing.
Absolutely.
So the competitive edge isn't just I have AI, it's I have AI wired into my entire funnel.
Exactly. It's about using AI for the research, the design, the content production, and the outreach. And you don't do this by just trying to build the Starship Enterprise on day one. You use scaffolding.
I love the Lego analogy here. You don't start by building a skyscraper.
Right. You get a Lego kit, you build a little car, you understand how the bricks fit together. In business terms, that means you start with a simple AI assistant. You figure out how to make it write good copy. Then maybe you hook it up to your email. You scaffold your way up.
Well, let's look at someone who has actually built the skyscraper, or at least a very impressive building. Let's talk about Guest Chat. This is the case study that anchors the whole discussion.
This is a great example because it's so unglamorous yet so effective. Guest Chat is an industry-specific AI assistant for hotels.
So picture this. You check into a hotel. Usually you have to download some clunky app or call the front desk if you want to know when the pool closes. With Guest Chat, you just scan a QR code.
Zero friction. That's key. No download. It opens a chat interface right in your browser, and it answers everything. Checkout times, menus, local attractions.
And the multilingual aspect is huge. The source mentioned a Russian guest asking questions in Russian.
And getting answers back in Russian, even though the hotel staff might only speak English or Thai, the AI just bridges that gap instantly.
But what I found interesting is that it's not just a chatbot for the guest, it's a tool for the staff.
That's the live knowledge base concept. The pool breaks down, the receptionist doesn't have to put up a sign or tell every single person who walks by. They just update the system once, pool is closed for maintenance, and the AI immediately knows.
And it stops telling guests to go for a swim.
Exactly. It frees up the staff from those repetitive, low-value queries so they can actually be hospitable.
Now here's where it gets really meta. Dave didn't just code this product. He used AI to market the AI.
This is bot intelligence applied to the creative process. He needed explainer videos. He needed them in multiple languages. He needed avatars. He used AI to script the videos, generate the voiceovers, and even create virtual presenters like the avatar JD to demonstrate the product.
It's incredible because he mentions that the website itself, the HTML and CSS, he could have built that without AI. That's standard stuff. But the media assets, the full suite of promotional videos with different scenarios and languages.
That would have taken a team of 5 people and weeks of work just a few years ago. He did it as a solo creator. He delegated all that labor-intensive creative work to the AI so he could focus on strategy.
So we have the product, Guest Chat, we have the marketing assets, but now we need to sell it. And this is the part of the deep dive that actually kind of scared me. In a good way, but also in a, wow, the world has changed way. The lead gen machine.
This is the back end. And this is where we see a true agentic workflow in action. It's not just one tool, it's a whole chain of tools working together.
So walk us through this workflow. He wants to sell this software to hotels. He doesn't want to cold call 5,000 people. What does the system do?
Okay, so step one is discovery. He tasks an AI to research thousands of relevant businesses. He inputs hotels in this region, and the AI comes back with a list of names and URLs.
But wait, stop there. We know AI hallucinates. It makes stuff up constantly. If you ask ChatGPT for a list of 10 hotels, 3 of them might not even exist.
Correct. And that's where most people stop. They get a bad list, they try to email a fake address, it bounces, and they say AI doesn't work. Dave built a second layer, a validation layer.
How does the validation actually work? Is it just Googling it?
It's more precise than that. He feeds that initial list into another AI tool that's specifically designed to check the domains. If the first AI made up billshotel.com, the second layer actually pings the website to see if it loads. It checks for a 404 error. It verifies the DNS record.
So it's bouncer.
It's a bouncer. It kicks out the fake data before it can clog up the system.
So it cleans its own mess. That's clever. So now we have a verified list.
Then comes the scraping and cleaning. A custom tool visits every single one of those verified websites. It extracts social links, location data, and this is the cool part, the vibe of the hotel.
The vibe.
Yeah. Is it a family resort? A business hotel? A romantic getaway?
And then it uses that vibe to write the email.
Contextual outreach. It doesn't send a generic "to whom it may concern." It generates a personalized email in the recipient's language, referencing their specific amenities.
And the kicker, the video.
The video is the magic detail. The system can embed a video intro that is tailored to the recipient's region. If the system detects the hotel is in Australia, it sends a video with an Australian accent. If it's in Thailand, it sends a Thai video.
That is wild. It feels like magic, but it's just logic and API calls. But I have to ask the skeptic's question here. Isn't this just super-powered spam?
It's a valid concern.
I mean, receiving an unsolicited email is annoying. Receiving one that pretends to know me feels almost intrusive.
And Dave makes a really important point here about effectiveness. This isn't about spamming millions of people with junk, which usually yields, what, a 0% return.
Right.
It's about using high computing power to send fewer, higher quality messages. Because the emails are so relevant and so personalized, the response rate is significantly higher, and you annoy fewer people because you're actually offering something that fits their specific vibe.
So it's efficiency over volume, and he calls this whole thing a durable asset. What does he mean by that?
Think about the data he just collected. He now has a database of verified hotels, their active URLs, their social media, their vibe, and a history of their interactions. That is an asset.
He gave an example of this, the coffee shop thing.
Right. So let's say he wants to follow up 3 months later. He doesn't just send a bumping this to the top of your inbox email. The system can look up the hotel's address, find a coffee shop across the street, let's say Joe's Coffee, and generate an email that says, hey, we were just looking at the area near Joe's Coffee across the street and thought of you.
That builds so much trust. It sounds like a human who has actually visited the neighborhood.
And it is all automated. But, and this is the critical scaffold lesson, you cannot stand this system up in an afternoon with a single prompt.
Yeah, he was very clear about that. This took months of coding and testing.
It's complex. But once it's built, one person can operate with the output of a 50-person sales team. That is the redefinition of the solopreneur.
It's not just you doing everything, it's you designing the systems that do everything.
Exactly.
It really changes the landscape for local businesses too, doesn't it? The source mentioned something called Sutherland Sally.
Yes, the local ecosystem concept. Imagine a living knowledge base for a suburb or a tourist area. Instead of just a list of links on Google Maps, you have an AI that crawls all the local business sites, the bakeries, the surf shops, and it actually understands what they offer.
So a tourist can ask, where can I get a gluten-free pastry and rent a surfboard?
Yeah.
And the AI knows exactly where to go because it's read the menus and the rental price list.
Precisely. It offers better context than generic listings. And for the business owners, it's a wake-up call. They have a narrow window here.
A narrow window to do what?
To learn how to direct this intelligence. If you run a local business, you need to be the one building these assistants, or at least ensuring your data is structured so these assistants can find you. Because if you don't, fully AI native competitors will. They will build the layer between the customer and your business, and you'll just be a commodity.
That brings us right back to Sam Altman's warning at the start. It's not about if AI will affect you, it's about whether you're going to shape it or get run over by it.
It sounds harsh, but the source material is adamant. Intelligence is becoming too cheap to meter. We are moving toward a world where the cost of thinking, processing data, writing emails, analyzing markets is dropping to near zero.
So we've gone from the hype of ClawdBot, which is the signal that this is all possible, to the reality of guest chat, which is the application of that signal.
The journey is from, wow, that's cool, to how does this make my business faster, smarter, and more efficient?
And for the listener wondering, okay, but I can't code a scraping bot, what's the very first step?
Start small. Break things. Get a personal assistant AI, whether it's a custom GPT or something local. Try to get it to do one recurring task for you. Scaffolding. You have to lay the first brick before you can build the automated sales engine.
So here is the final provocative thought to leave you with.
Mm-hmm.
If intelligence is indeed becoming too cheap to meter, if you can buy the equivalent of a Harvard grad's analysis for a few cents of electricity, what is the one problem in your life or your business that you have ignored because it was too expensive or too time-consuming to solve?
That is the question.
Yeah.
Because the barrier is no longer capability. It's no longer cost. It's imagination and implementation.
Are you waiting for a tool to save you, or are you actively building the scaffolding to house your own agents? That's the challenge. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
It's been a pleasure. Start building.
We'll see you next time.